I'm James Hannon, and the President and Lead Content Developer at Lantern Media Productions. I'm also the co-creator of the board game Chopper, along with John Kramer. In this video, I will walk you through the basics of how to play it. So, what is Chopper? It's a 2 to 4 player, easy to learn worker placement game where you play as the owner of a custom motorcycle builder and you compete against others to build custom bikes for clients with very different personalities and requirements. Basically, you choose a client, roll the dice to build motorcycles, deliver them, and take the money made and upgrade your shop to make more expensive motorcycles faster. The first player to reach 29 prestige point wins. The setup for Chopper is pretty straightforward. Keep in mind this is the prototype and there will be better components later. First, place a center board in your gameplay area. Then, each player chooses a color and takes the appropriate garage board. Take your color-coded due date marker and place it on the lift on the garage board. Then, take your color-coded scoring token and place it on the 0 prestige spot of the center board. Take the year stone and place it on the year 1 spot on the center board. Then place the season stone on the spring spot right below it. Randomly deal 2 shop owner cards to each player. Pick one of them as your shop owner. Each shop owner has special abilities spelled out on the card that gives each player a unique advantage. In this case, player 1 can choose between Ron Sr., who can reroll 1 worker build die per turn, and Smith or Clean, who can clean up 2 clutter tokens instead of 1 during the clean up the shop action. I'll choose Ron Sr. Each player gets a starting investment of $10,000. Each player gets 6 level 1 motorcycle parts, the white ones. A frame, an engine, a gas tank, a seat, a rear tire, and a front tire. Each player gets 4 numbered shop planner action tokens to signify the 4 in-sequence actions they are allowed to schedule each turn. Client cards are shuffled and split into 3 individual decks by level. Then deal the top card of each pile to the area below it. Place the shuffled event and trade show cards into the play area. Depending on the number of players, place the corresponding shop upgrade cards in the current market area of the center board. For a 2-player game, there are 2 shop technicians, 2 anti-theft systems, premium healthcare, a generator, a PR agent, and high-speed air tools. Finish up by grabbing 6 regular die, an event die, and clutter tokens, and put them in your play area. Now that the game is properly set up, let's play. Each player rolls 1d6 to determine who gets the first player marker. Play will go clockwise around the table from there. Then, roll the event die. If an E pops up, then an event card is drawn. An event card affects everyone, but there are safeguards against bad events. For example, a hurricane card will drastically reduce the number of actions you can take in a turn. But if you upgrade your shop with the generator, you're safe. A list of all the events is in the rulebooks, which I'll put a link to in the description. Play turns revolve around each player's garage board. All players schedule their 4 action tokens at the same time. Then, when all players are finished scheduling, the player with the first player marker begins to process those actions in order from 1 to 4, and then the next player goes. The goal is to build motorcycles and deliver them to the clients as quickly as possible. And how players would do this is choosing these actions. Find a new client, work on a bike, upgrade a shop, visit trade show, clean up the shop, schedule pickup, or extreme build. I'll go through each of these in turn. Find a new client will probably be the first action taken in every game since players need a client to begin working on a bike. The player takes their action token number 1 and places it on Find a New Client spot. When it comes time to process this action, players can either choose to take the known face-up client of any level deck or take its top, unknown, face-down card. Each client is different. There are 3 different levels of clients. Level 1 is the basic client. They only require bikes with level 1 white parts, which every shop has at the beginning of the game. Level 2 clients have a mix of level 1 and level 2 black parts. They will need to spend money to upgrade to level 2 clients, but they are more profitable than level 1 clients. Each client card has a bike icon that shows which specific parts need to be upgraded. Level 3 clients want all the parts to be level 2 parts, but they also bring the most cash and prestige for completing them. Now, Each client card has a few indicators on it to show what they need. The frowny face is their patience indicator. If you cannot deliver a bike on time, you will need to roll one die to see if you can extend the bike's due date another season. If you roll equal to or greater than the patience indicator, the client will let you slide for another season. But if you roll less than the patience indicator, you lose the client's business and prestige points. The clock shows the number of seasons you need to deliver the bike. When you take on your client, you take your due date marker from your garage's empty lift and put it on the season track for the number of seasons ahead that clock icon shows. 3. 1, 2, 3. The dollar sign is pretty self-explanatory. When you deliver the bike successfully, you get that amount of cash. The bottom left circled number is the amount of prestige points you receive when you deliver the bike on time, or lose if you fail to deliver. Some clients have a number with a rooster icon above them. That means if you deliver the bike before the season the bike is due, you get that amount of prestige. On the flip side, if you try to deliver a bike early and fail, you lose that amount of prestige from your score track as well. On the lower right corner there are two small numbers. They are to be used for the end of year bike show, and I'll explain that later. Once you have a client, the next action to take is to work on a bike. Being it is still early in the game and you don't have money to upgrade your parts or shop, the best strategy is to put the rest of your action tokens on work on a bike. When it comes time to process these actions, since there are 3 actions scheduled, the player rolls 3 dice to gain hours to work on the motorcycle. The bike frame needs to be installed first, and it takes 4 hours. The engine takes 5 hours. The gas tank takes 3 hours. The seat takes 2 hours. The rear tire takes 4 hours. And the front tire takes 2 hours. Overall, it takes 20 hours to build a level 1 bike. Level 2 and level 3 take longer. So we have to use those hours efficiently. Going back to the 13 we rolled, we have 13 hours available. We need to install the frame first for 4 hours. Then we add the engine for 5 hours and the rear tire for 4. This uses up all our available hours. On our next round, we will need 7 more hours to complete the front tire, gas tank, and seat before we can deliver the bike. Now, if we would have rolled any ones, that means our workers were sloppy and left a mess. And we would collect a clutter token for every one we rolled on a bill roll and put it in our clutter area. Luckily, we have the owner, Rob Sr., that lets us re-roll 1 die per turn, so we have a second chance to avoid collecting clutter. Since we're on the topic of clutter, I'm going to skip ahead to the clean up the shop action. For every clutter token you have, you lose 1 action on all future turns, until you allocate an action to clean up the shop. Every action token on Clean Up the Shop removes 1 clutter token from your garage. The shop owner, Smith or Clean, has the ability to remove 2 clutter tokens per cleaning action instead of 1. If you get 4 clutter tokens, you can't do anything, so you lose your next turn. The bright side is losing your turn cleans out all 4 clutter tokens, so you're back at full capacity. After 2 or 3 seasons of working on a bike, you should be pretty close to completing it and can deliver the bike. If you think you can complete your bike build this round, you would place one of your tokens on Schedule Pickup or Extreme Build. Extreme Build is a topic that may be a little too involved for a beginner tutorial, but in a nutshell, it's a way for players falling behind in prestige to get back in the game. They start by rolling as many dice as they want to score at least 10, but if they get a single 1 on any of those dice, the build fails and they lose prestige. It is covered more extensively in the rulebook. But for right now, we'll just schedule a regular bike pickup. If you have completely installed all 6 parts needed by the time your scheduled pickup action is processed, then it's a very easy and rewarding transaction. If you are successful delivering the bike on time, the same season that your due date marker is on, then you move your prestige point marker up the amount of circled prestige points on your client card. If you are delivering early, meaning a season or more early than when your due date marker is on, then you move your prestige marker up the amount of prestige points under the rooster/early delivery icon. Then collect the amount of cash next to the dollar sign. Remove your bike off your lift and return the due date marker from the season track to your garage. And finally, take your client card and flip it over to be used in the bike show at the end of the year. If you don't have all the parts installed on your client's bike when you schedule a pickup, you have failed your client and now have to test their patience. Look at the client card and note the frowny face, and roll 1 die. If the die value is equal to or above the patience value, then the client will let you slide and you can move your due date marker up 1 season without penalty. However, if the die is less than the patience value, you have annoyed the client and he fires you on the spot. So, take the bike in progress off your lift, take the due date marker off the season track and put it back on your empty lift. Not only do you not get any prestige, but you also actually lose prestige. If you are delivering on time, you would just lose the circled amount of prestige. But if you had tried to deliver early, you lose the larger early prestige amount. Finally, put the client in the discard pile. That's the very core of the game and how you make money and prestige. Once you start making money, you can start buying upgrades to speed up your bike building process or make more profitable bikes. There are two types of upgrades, part upgrades and shop upgrades. Both require you to allocate one action in the upgrade shop box for each upgrade you want. Let's start with parts first. In order to handle more lucrative clients, you need to upgrade your parts from level 1, the white ones, to level 2, the black ones. Each part's cost is listed on your garage board. The level 2 frame is $15,000 and the level 2 engine is $20,000, and so on. As you start upgrading parts, you may want to notice the face-up level 2 clients and see what parts you would need. This client, Patient Peter, needs an upgraded frame and a rear tire. As you upgrade more parts, you could be able to risk taking the face-down card, but early on it's safe to buy parts for the known level 2 potential clients. To upgrade one part, place one of your action tokens in Upgrade Shop. When you process that action, you give the bank the appropriate amount and collect your level 2 part and place it in your part storage area. Then take the part marker and place it on the appropriate part upgrade slot on your garage. Note that the costs for installing level 2 parts are slightly more expensive, but the rewards are worth it. Also note that if you upgrade all 6 parts, you automatically collect 4 prestige points as a bonus. In addition to, or instead of, upgrading your bike parts, you might want to use the strategy of upgrading your shop to build bikes faster or protect against disasters or shady business practices from your opponents. Here's the shop upgrades you have available. Shop Technician. This upgrade gives players a +1 point on their cumulative bike builds. Anti-theft systems. This is insurance to prevent most attempts of theft from your opponents. Premium Healthcare. This is insurance against illness-based events. Generator. This is insurance from power outage events or opponent sabotage. PR Agent. This is insurance from your opponents running smear campaigns on you. High-Speed Air Tools. This adds another full die to your bike build rolls. Like parts, each of these shop upgrades has a cost listed on their card. You pay the bank, collect the appropriate marker, and install it on your garage card. As a bonus, if you install 3 shop upgrades, you get an automatic 3 extra prestige points. Once you install a part or shop upgrade, you can't get a refund, nor sell, trade, or remove it, so make sure it's what you want before you buy it. Now would be a good time to talk about trade shows. Every other season, players can allocate actions to visit the trade show. When the action is processed, players take a trade show card and, depending on the card, play it immediately or hold it for later. These cards are pretty self-explanatory, but they are covered in the rulebook. They are usually helpful to the individual player by offering prestige or reduced prices on part or shop upgrades. There are a few gotcha cards, however, like being able to hurt competing players with sabotage or theft. You can put multiple actions into the Visit Trade Show box and get multiple cards, but you can only do it during seasons when there is a trade show scheduled. Unless, of course, an event card cancels that season. So, that's the basics of what players can do on their turns. Once everybody processes their actions, the season is over and you start the end of season and/or end of year cleanup tasks. When the season is over, a few cleanup tasks need to be done. First, the player with the highest prestige at the end of the season gets, or keeps, the first player token. If there's a tie, the current first player keeps it. If the current first player isn't in the running, there is a D6 roll-off. Then you move the season marker to the next season. At the end of the 4th season, in addition to your regular season cleanup, add $5,000 of incentive money from the bank to each face-up client card. This money will start to make that not-so-lucrative client seem a lot more attractive. Move the year marker to the next year and the season marker to spring. And then there's the bike show. This is the big event of the year where every garage puts up one of their completed bikes against completed bikes from other garages. It is optional to enter, but it's a great way to get prestige and bragging rights. Here's how you enter. Every player submits their best client bike card for the bike show face down. When all entries are submitted, they are flipped over for all to see. Each participant player rolls 1d6. On every client there's a number in the lower right corner that goes from 0 to +4. You add that number to your roll. The highest number wins. If there is a tie, then there is a d6 roll-off between the tied players. Winner gains prestige equal to the difference between the highest and the next highest roll. For example, if player 1 rolls a 5 with a +2, he has 7. Player 2 rolls a 3 with a +0, so he has 3. Player 1 wins and gains 4, which is 7 minus 3 prestige. For games with more than 2 players, the winner only gets the prestige difference between their roll and the next highest roll. If a player enters the bike show unchallenged, he wins the full amount of his roll plus the plus number. Every client bike built during the game is eligible. However, you can only submit 1 bike per show, and once a bike competes, it is placed into the appropriate client discard deck. The most straightforward way to win the game is to reach 29 prestige points before your opponents. However, the season where someone hits 29 has to be played out to the end to give all players last licks. If multiple people get 29 or above in that final season, the highest prestige wins. If no player has reached 29 prestige points by the end of the final season, the winner is determined by the highest prestige after the bike show of the final round. Note, any bikes not completed by the end of the final round are abandoned, but there aren't any consequences for failing to deliver, unless they were due that season. When all players have completed their final turn, the game is over and the player with the highest prestige is the winner. In the case of a prestige tie, the player with the most cash wins. And that's the basics of Chopper. The rulebook has much more detailed information on everything, but this should get you up and running. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments or email me at jameshannon@lantern-media.com. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.